Hey, I'm back, and today I want to talk about MidiGuitar 2. So about a year ago, I made a video on this, but now I thought I'd do a part 2 because they're on beta 16. So they released another beta, and they changed things a lot. So if you look here, you can see, first of all, they changed the GUI, so it looks completely different. I didn't mind the old one, so I thought, it's not so bad what they did, but this definitely looks a little bit different. But that's not the only thing that's changed. They've changed a bunch of the other things and parameters. So let's take a look and check some of those out. So one thing you probably notice is, hey, they don't have the tuner and the other things on the side here, which they had before. So they moved them here. So if you look here next to Instrument Tool, you can get the Poly Tuner, which is really good. Let's see here. There you go. They also have Keyboard View, which I really like. So if I play this, it shows me the notes there. I really like that. It also has a few other things like Waveform View. Shows me the waveform. I don't really need that, but that's okay. And then MIDI Monitor. So it just tells you everything I play. So all of those are cool. I really like the Polytuner. That's good. The chord wheel, I forgot what this is. Yeah. So it just tells me what chord I'm playing. I don't know why that's useful. Maybe if you don't know your chords or something, I don't know. I don't know. How would you play it if you don't know what it is? Anyways, that's not really that important. Anyway, let's keep going. Obviously, under here they have effects, so you can load up your own VSTs as effects, which is cool. They have this here, the piano. So this is their piano that comes with it. So if you don't have any other VSTs, they have something there you can use. It has different modes, etc. But not only that, you have electric pianos. You have a synthesizer here. So this is more of an analog style synthesizer with lots of different modes. Yeah, so, and they have a FM synthesizer, but let's not go into all of that, because if you saw my other video, you know I went into all that. And besides, you can look all the VSTs I have. You can get crazy with synths or samplers or whatever you want to do. So that's always cool. But what I really want to talk about in this video is the other things, the new things. So if you look over here, you see S gear. So I have S gear loaded, and you see the mix here. I really like how they did this. So the red, you can see matches up with the piano. This is the synth. If I turn it this side, it turns into a guitar. So here's the synth, electric piano, guitar coming out of S gear. So if you're not sure how to use this, if you click on this, it will open up your GUI. So you can see exactly what the settings are and everything, but that's not so important. But if we look here, the deep effects, they have some new things. So they have their own tube amp if you don't have your own VST, solid state amp. But let's look here at the overdrive here. So they have two new overdrive pedals, which are pretty cool. So So that's a pretty good sounding one. The JD1, I'm not exactly sure what they modeled for that. I'm not sure. And the, obviously, JS9, I'm almost sure is a tube screamer. JD1, maybe it's OD1 and tube screamer. So I think that's pretty cool. That actually does remind me of a tube screamer. Maybe not the best emulation of a tube screamer ever, but it's definitely not bad, and it's definitely cool to have on there. And then also you have chorus things, and that's not very chorusy. I don't have it up high enough, but they also have delay. You can hear the delay, and they have a flanger too. Turn the mix up a little bit. If I had distortion, you'd probably hear that a little bit better. And so those are cool, but to me, those are I got other effects for flangers and distortion pedals. So although they're cool to have, and I'm glad they included them in here, that's not really the most interesting thing for me. The more interesting things are things like this deep harmonic EQ and the expressor. So the deep harmonic EQ set like this, I don't think it does too much actually. It's kind of natural. But some of the other settings are more interesting. So for example, this one, feedback. Actually, let me leave it here. Let me change S gear to a setting that's a little bit more distorted. Let's see, Plexi Monster. So you can hear that, but they have another setting like feedback, and this one will completely change it. So here. So I think you can kind of hear the feedback, but actually I can make this more exaggerated. Turn the root down a bit. I'll leave the fifth up. I'll turn the octave up here like this. And this is, I think, more like a feedback sound. As opposed to natural. So it gives you a little bit more sustain, and as it sustains, that octave kind of comes up if you do that and you change it. So I think this is a really cool thing to do. Let me see. The Pluck I haven't messed with so much, so I'm not sure what it does or how well it works, but let me try it on a clean sound to see if you can kind of hear it. Let's see. Okay. Natural. Pluck. That's kind of cool. It kind of turns into almost like a banjo. It's a bit exaggerated. I probably want to mess with that, but let's see. You can mess with that yourself. It's kind of an interesting thing, but you can see like what these can do. These deep harmonic effects, I think, are really cool, and they apparently use the tracking technology, so they're not just like normal effects. I think they did a really good job with these, actually. But let me show you one more. So there's also the deep expressor. So this also changes things quite a bit. Let's see here. Normal. Let me turn that up a little bit. I'm not sure if you can hear that. There we go. Now, let's try odd dynamic short. Let me actually try a different sound with S gear so you can hear this a little bit more. Try smooth lead. This is a little bit muted, I think, but maybe it will help you. Oh, wow. That makes it sound like a synthesizer. Let me see if I can try flat dry. So that's how it normally sounds. Odd dynamic short. So it sounds like a kind of a weird synthesizer, almost like a square wave. Let's try even compressed long. So it really compresses it. Let's try thin compressed long. So that also, it's cool. It sounds like an old synthesizer or something, but it's actually not a synthesized sound. It's actually the guitar sound. But I like how it does that, and that's really cool because I'm not doing a lot, but I imagine if I put like some, I don't know, maybe a delay or some other effect, it would sound like a synthesizer. It's cool. I can play old synthesizer lines with that. So I think that's this overall is a really cool effect. Let me try one more, fat and edgy. And that's kind of like a normal sound, odd and edgy. Cool, another synthesizer sound. So like I said, these are really, really interesting. And if you want to mix these, let me turn this itself off. You want to mix your guitar sound, well, there, guitar sound with your piano sound, you can, just using this mix knob. Okay, that's still way too much guitar. Let me get a different sound here. It's hard to hear with that. Back it up. I probably shouldn't do vibrato with piano, should I? Okay, my fault. But let me show you some other cool things they did besides that on the MIDI side. So I'll turn this all the way here so you can hear the MIDI. And let me switch to something else which I can perhaps use a little bit more easily. What do I want to use? Empower Synth. That's a good one. Good old friend, Empower Synth. Let's open this up. I'll switch to like a lead sound, I guess. What's here? You lead. I like that one, but for this, I'm not sure if it's good. Okay, that'll definitely work for what I want to show. So, one cool thing is these MIDI effects. There's lots of them, but let me go through them one by one. So one is Harmonizer. If you do this, it'll play harmony. So let me just do a major scale, and it'll harmonize it for me. Probably play it evenly, but you can hear it harmonizes it for you, and you can set your key here however you want to. So that's a really cool one. Let's see here. Another one is Machine Gun. So this one will basically just repeat a note over and over again, kind of like a tremolo. So it's cool, it kind of just tremolo or delay thing here. Let me see if I set it here. I don't know how well it'll work. Decays a little bit too fast, but that's cool when you can kind of mess with. Let me see, scale filter, that will filter out all the notes that are not in the scale. That's cool sometimes because sometimes you get kind of like bum notes, so that's not good. Auto vibrato and auto mod wheel, they'll send a MIDI CC out or a mod or a pitch wheel out in like a vibrato, like using an LFO. So I don't know if I'd use that, but that's kind of cool. Arpeggiator. Let's take a look at this. I'm just going to play one note. So you can play one note and it'll arpeggiate it for you. That's kind of a cool one too. Let's see. Fixed velocity. This is useful because sometimes like it's hard to play with the exact same velocity, so using this, it will just set the velocity for you, and every note you play will be the same velocity. Okay, well, didn't really do it that time. I don't know what's going on. Maybe I need to mess with this more. Transposer, I think self-explanatory. Add bass note will add a note one octave below. So like this. That's cool, so it'll double whatever you're playing one octave below, so you want to add some, some meat to what you're playing. So I think that's a really cool one. And let's see, there's add bass note. There's another one, lowest note in bass range. I think this will cut off some of them, so if you play high, it won't play the note. If you play low, it will. Yeah, so that's basically what it does. So I can mix this together, and I have like the high notes, I can play guitar, and in the low notes, I can play synth. So that's kind of a cool one. But I think the best one in here for me is the sustain. So this has like a normal sustain button. You're thinking, oh, what's good about that? But thing you can do is set it to hold instrument, switch to guitar. So if I go like this and I set it here, what I can do is I can play a chord, press this, and it'll hold it, and then I can solo over it using my guitar. So let me see if I can try to demonstrate that for you. There you go. I think that's one of the coolest ones because that really lets you experiment with chords and things. You just play a chord, hit that button, or if you have a MIDI controller, you can use that to stomp on it. It will hold it for you for as long as you want, and then you can just solo over it. I didn't set up the tone correctly, so it probably didn't sound that great. But at least it gives you an idea of what you can do. So that's probably my favorite addition that they added. But one more thing I figured out which might help you. I know some people said, like, how do I get this to work in my DAW? It's not working for me or something. And even I had a problem, not with Sonar, but I had a problem getting this to work with a notation program. So I oftentimes like to write music, but I write it in actual notation, especially if it's something like more like a classical style thing where it's like I have violins and trumpets and things like that. I don't like doing that in like Sonar or something. I like doing it with notation. And I have notation programs, but I couldn't get MidiGuitar to talk to the other programs. So I found a solution. It's called, loopMIDI. So you can find it here. It's by Tobias Eriksson. I'm not sure if I pronounced that Eriksson. I'm not sure. But anyways, you can download this for free. Once you download it, it will allow you to stream from this program, MidiGuitar, as a standalone, and then from the standalone, you can have it go into your DAW. I'll see if I can add another part of this video to show you. Okay, so now I'm going to quickly try to show you how you can set up MidiGuitar to play in another DAW, or in this case, a music notation software. So as I said before, download the MIDI loop software and open it if it doesn't open automatically. So you can see here it says loopMIDI. So it's open. So now what we need to do is we need to set up MidiGuitar to output from there. So click on here, the interface, there. Now where it says output here, open it, it says loopMIDI port. Okay, so now it's outputting from MidiGuitar to loopMIDI. Now what we need to do is go to Audio MIDI in notation software or whatever your DAW is. Look at the MIDI settings, and you should see loopMIDI port. Make sure it's enabled. If it's enabled, everything should be okay, and we should be ready to record. So let me try it here. I have a feeling you're probably not going to be able to hear this because I don't have anything recording, but I'll show you anyways. So let's try it. Okay. So unfortunately, timing's not perfect, so it comes out a little bit strange here, and there's a few bum notes. And so it's not great, but great thing I can do is it's very easy to just click through all these little grace notes here, get rid of them. You see like there's some clusters there. I can get rid of that. I'm not going to spend my time doing all that and erasing this. But you can go through there, and it's fairly simple. If you're using a DAW, it's much easier. Like you can just highlight all the notes that are, less than a few seconds and get rid of those. I probably should have used the neck pickup. I might have gotten rid of that instead of having all those. Those little notes show up when you release your finger. It's kind of like noises or like pick hitting the string or something like that. But they're fairly easy to clean up. Even here, I got rid of them fairly quickly. And the great thing is, inputting notes this way sounds more natural because you get more of that human variation in timing and velocity. So that's one thing I really enjoy about this. I don't know why this is inputting E's is F flats, but that's okay. Besides that, sometimes you have to, work through little things like that. But for me, it's much easier than entering every single melody and trying to make that sound human. I can play it, have it sound human, and then correct any little flaws in that. So that's one thing that's really great for me. And even if you're not using this software, I believe this will work in any other DAW. So hopefully this will help you use this in your DAW of choice if it's not working already. So that's it for the new features. So obviously there's all the other features they had before. If you didn't see my other video about MidiGuitar, definitely check that out. Also, if you have any questions, leave them below. If you're not subscribed, do that. Give me a thumbs up, and until next time, see you.